Welcome to Sassy, Soulful, and Sensitive, the podcast for introverts, empaths, and highly sensitive people. I'm your host, Cam Nichols, and I'm here to guide and explore with you how to tune into your intuition, step into your radical self, and find your voice. If you want to ditch the feeling of being a tortured, out-of-place soul in this great big world, and learn how to speak up for all of your wants and needs and create a more peaceful, content, and empowered life, all while having more fun, keep listening. Hello, my beautiful friends. Today's topic is gonna be fun. And the topic is fuck your highest self. Yeah, your eyes are probably really wide right now, and that's a good thing. So, I was talking to a client yesterday, and they were just talking about like being their best and highest self. And I admit, I've totally used this language before, and I think it is really, really common for us as introverts, empaths, and highly sensitive people to use, especially when we're thinking about being better. So, your best and highest self, here's the problem with it. It keeps us in this dualistic paradigm, right? The dualistic paradigm is this idea that there's just good and bad. There's just right and wrong. There's perfect, imperfect, right? This is the dualistic perfectionism mentality that society just kind of promotes, and we have decided to take on and make it right. Make it the right way of thinking. But here's what I want to offer to you. When we do this, we are limiting ourselves, because similar to this idea that you're not broken, like you're just fine exactly the way you are, that does not fit in this dualistic paradigm. It doesn't fit in the like your future is better than your past. No, it's just different. And this dualistic paradigm, this thinking puts us in this social hierarchy. And we can see the hierarchy all over the place. We see it in government, in schools, corporations, religions, HOAs. Like there's all kinds of hierarchy that we like to put in place. And the problem with that is, especially for us that are sensitive, we like to put people above us. They're better. They know better. No, that's not accurate at all. And so what I want to offer is let's completely demolish this hierarchical thinking, and think of it more of a plane, right? So the hierarchy thinking is, okay, your future or someone else is higher in the hierarchy than you are right now. If you were to get rid of that and you were to start thinking of yourself and everyone else on just a plane, like think of just like a flat plane. Toy with the flat earth theory for a minute. No, I'm not a flat earther. I do have some judgments about that, but that's not important. But like, think of it as a plane. People are just at different points on the plane. Like, it doesn't make it better than somewhere else. Right? It's just a completely different spot. And so this idea of our highest and best self. You are your highest and best self right now. You, the person that's listening to this, is your highest and best self. Now, typically there's two ways that your brain wants to go when you hear that sentence. One is like, hell yeah, I am. I'm awesome. The other version side of it will probably want to go like, oh shit, if this is my highest and best self, that's just depressing. There's like, what's the point? Here's the point. What happens when you are just yourself? You don't have to judge yourself. Because notice how that second way of thinking is very judgmental. It's very disempowering because it's like, okay, what's the point? That sentence, that thought, just gives your power away to someone else or the world or just circumstances, right? That's when we go on autopilot and we're just like, yeah, let's just go through the motions. That's not an empowered life. That's not empowered living. Like there is a combination of you, personality, strengths, values, ethics, all of which we're going to talk about in later episodes. But like those are the things that make up who you are. You have a unique signature that plays into the whole. And I want you to just consider, again, that you don't have to be better than who you are right now. This does not mean that, again, kind of going into that idea of like your future self is better than your past self. No, it's just completely different, right? Take it out of the hierarchy, put it on the plane. It's just different. The client that I was talking to yesterday, I kind of used the analogy of like eyewear, glasses, contacts, right? So it's like, okay, you're on a point. You're a point on a plane. Look at me using math language. I am terrible at math. So you're this point on a plane and you can only see so far. So your experience that you create for yourself is limited to what you can see, to that knowledge that you currently have, right? So at that moment, that is the best possible version of you. Time moves on and you get more, right? So if you move from one point to another, you're able to see just a little bit more. But if you go back to that first point where you started, but this time you start with corrective lenses, contacts or glasses, you can see farther, right? And then you move to that second point that I just mentioned, and you see farther than you did before without those corrective lenses, right? So that's kind of how I want you to just think about your highest and best self. It's you right now. And as time goes on, the more experiences you have, the more life that you live, the more that time goes by, the more knowledge you have, the more perspective you have. And so your capacity is just continually growing. That, from that perspective, it takes you completely out of the hierarchy because your starting point is going to be over here and someone else's starting point is completely over there. Their field of vision is going to be very similar to yours, but you guys might not be able to see each other. So again, we need to find a way to give ourselves permission to be our best and highest self right now. Take ourselves out of the hierarchy, recognize how much power and soul we have right now in this moment. And you know what? If you are in a down mood, if you're sad, depressed, just a lower energy, that's totally fine. That is not better than this high energy version that you probably see yourself as when you are thinking about your best and highest self. The energy is just different. One is not better than the other. It goes back to what I mentioned in the previous episode of you're not broken, of really just honoring where you are at. Honoring and giving yourself what you need in that moment. Think about where you are right now. Think about what you need. Think about what you're giving yourself. Are you listening to this while you're driving to work? On a walk? Just sitting down like in a chair and just listening and having some alone time to yourself? You're always doing something for yourself, but you're doing it consciously. When you do it consciously and you have that awareness and you're not trying to, you're in the present moment, you're not putting yourself in that hierarchy, that hierarchical thinking of the future is better than now. When you're present, you're just in the moment and you can hear yourself, that inner voice, that inner knowing, whether you call that your spirit, your soul, your guides, your intuitive body. Like, I don't give a shit what you call it, but that inner knowing, that's when you can hear it, is when you are in the present moment. And when you hear it, that's how you know what to give yourself. So I'm just going to say, again, fuck your highest and best self and just be that now. Because that's just who you are at any given time. The only difference is that you think it's someone else than who you are right now. So please give yourself permission to own that piece of you right now, regardless of your energy level, your productivity, any of it. Own who you are. Own your power. Empower yourself to be present and give yourself what you need. Give yourself permission. All right, my friends, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening. And as always, remember that shining bright gives others permission to shine as well. Take care. Hey, I just wanted to say thank you so much for listening. Be sure to follow, rate, and review the show wherever you get your podcast, especially if you really liked it. If you didn't like it though, don't even worry about it. Also, head on over to coachwithcam.com where I have a guided meditation I'd love to gift you, along with 3 of my favorite mini trainings. You'll also be able to see what webinars or programs or other offerings I have coming up. And when you're ready to explore the depth of your beautiful soul, I invite you to come work with me one-on-one for 6 months. This is where you discover and harness the magic that already exists within you, your voice, so you can create whatever the hell it is that you want on your terms. Change how you show up for yourself in this world, then go out and change the world.